There are certain things that get my attention. Nuzzles to my flank, the sound of a shotgun shell being actioned into the chamber, the sweet smell of wild Pegasus, and the impact of a nearly full-grown rampage slamming into me from behind and sending me sliding down the hall. Normally, I would have rolled with it onto my hooves, but my braced limbs clackled as they strangled to support me and move as they were supposed to. That gave her the time to jump right on top of me. "Hi! I wanted you to know that Scotch is done. She doesn't remember anything from the tunnels. Not a thing." She hissed down on my face. "Do you know what she said? The very first thing." Rampage, I've had a lot of people jumping on me today. I really hoped I wouldn't have to shoot her again in the head. "She asked for me," she shouted into my face. "Don't you get it? She's young and scared and afraid, and asked for me to see her." I saw the tears beneath her rage. "Just like Thorn. Just like..." She grimaced and sobbed, pressing her face to my chest. "I had to tell her no. I ran from her. She needed me, and I ran. Because otherwise she might kill Scotch Tape." Rampage, I'm sorry. My striped friend rubbed her nose. "Why'd you have to do it, Blackjack? Scotch is a tough girl. So she had a scare or two. She'd get tougher from them. But now she's scared and all she knows is that I can't be around her. And I can't tell her. Not the reason why she doesn't remember or why I can't give her the hug she needs." I sat up. "Who's with Scotch now?" "Glory and the Zodiac filly. I think she's the first friend that Scotch Tape's had." I gave a little smile. Maybe she should stay here then, instead of going to chapel. She certainly wasn't, and then Rampage's hoof across my face ended that thought process. "Don't you get it?" Rampage shouted to my face. "She doesn't want to go back to chapel anymore. She wants to stay with us. So if we send her away, it'll seem like we're abandoning her. It'll break her heart even more." To my shock, she started to laugh. "It's funny when you think about it. Like me catching a killer, only to become a killer myself." There wasn't any mirth in that laugh, only a ragged madness that grew sharper and sharper. She slammed me harder and harder into the tiles. "I killed her. I killed her." There was something very wrong when you needed a bullet in the head to calm some pony down. If she regenerated, I made sure to get out from under her and on my legs. 2 college ponies came around the corner and spotted the crimson spray on the wall and the sight of her head pulling itself together. From the way they ran off, I suppose that Scotch wasn't the only pony needing their memory modified. Of course, being shot in the head didn't solve anything. "Rampage, I'm sorry. I did what I thought was right. Maybe I'm wrong, but if I can give Scotch Tape some peace, I will. She'll be upset for a while, but then she'll get better. And we'll get her someplace safe and happy as soon as we can. Okay?" Was I trying to convince myself or her? "I don't want another thorn," she said softly as she turned away. "I can't take another thorn." And then she quietly walked back down the hall, leaving patterns of blood in her wake. It was getting late. After my little display in the meal room, the collegiate had found a place for us on the 2nd floor over the old gymnasium. The classrooms were full of junk, and the stank of musty carpeting and dust, but they were still dry and private. We lit a fire, and the orange and yellow flames danced and flickered across the faces of my friends. The rain had picked up again and was washing the fog away. It sounded as if it was trying to scour the entire city away. A flash and a boom made the windows rattle, and Scotch Tape jumped for cover underneath some blankets. I couldn't blame her. Every flash made my hoof jerk in response. Scotch looked confused. She had sensed rejoining us. Her eyes were big and round and afraid, not of what she'd experienced, but of what she'd lost. We'd fed her lies. She'd been injured in the tunnels and knocked out. She'd swallowed them, and now they were sour and heavy in her stomach. But she didn't complain because she didn't know any better. Children should listen to their parents. What should parents listen to? I need to decide what to do, I said softly, my eye turning from one to the next. Scotch hadn't been the only pony to lose it. Not even the first. Since my alarm went off on that late night shift in the stable, I'd been losing. So had every pony with me. So had every pony in this damned city. Hoofington has a maw that... No, not all at once. No, that would have been decent. That would have been respectable. Hoofington was a leech, sucking everything away as slowly as possible. Right now, I hated the city. I hated it with every bit of my being. I stood up to address the others. As some of you realize, I'm not doing too well at this rate. Triage gave me 6 months before Taint eats me up. Even if I say fuck that and live twice as long, I'm still dead in a year. Professor Zodiacs told me to leave Hoofington, and that all of you should too. Go somewhere else. Help a stable dweller. Something. I closed my eye, taking a deep breath. But I'm not going to. P21 was almost completely turned away from me. Only the thinest sliver of his face showed in the flickering light as his forehooves insistently rubbed his rear leg. He stared off. Was he looking into Stable 99 now? Was he hearing the overmare? He was a smart pony, but not a good one. The chance to be a good pony had been taken from him. Now he was just trying to not be a bad one. Priest would never love a bad pony. I've also been struggling. I suggested that I give EC1101 to Professor Zodiac, hand it over and let her deal with it. And I'm mighty tempted to do that. I said softly. She seems a decent sort, if a little weird, but I'm not going to do that. Like it or not, this is something I have to see through. I looked at Lacuna in the corner, feeling the stare of hundreds of eyes reflected in the flame. It's also been suggested that I give EC1101 to Sanguine. Get myself some new organs, Glory a new wing, and the goddess a date. Well, I'm not going to do that either. After what he's done, Sanguine's never going to get his hooves on Chimera if I can help it. Maybe we can get that project to Professor Zodiac or something and explore that possibility later. But not through Sanguine. Not after 99 and Deus. I looked at the dark alicorn, wondering if I was addressing my friend or my enemy. What about Steel Pony? Glory asked. Maybe the professor could do something? I shook my head. There's not a great abundance of bionic parts out there. She'd have to make the synthetic organs from scratch. There's not enough time for that to save me. Sorry. Glory hung her head and nodded silently. The fire flickered and danced across Rampage's face. Every lick of flame from the barrel seemed to make her change. Was she a full murdering psychopath? Perhaps an ardent defender of law? A Zeba traitor? Someone else? She'd be back to full strength in the morning. But what would she do? What would I do? Glory looked at me. She'd follow me to the end. I didn't want her to. She deserved her own life, her own happiness. I had reunited her with her sister, at least. Who knew what else was possible? Golden Blood did something before the end of the war. I'm sure of it. He did something, and I suspect it was something big and something bad. EC1101 is at the heart of it. If I have a short time left, I'm going to do what I can to find out what. And I'm going to do whatever I can to stop the fighting. We're going north. We're going to tell the Steel Rangers we were behind the attack, and see what we can do to end their war with the Reapers. Rampage snorted softly. You'll be going into a meat grinder, Blackjack. That's Flash Philly's territory. They like Psycho Shy, and don't like you. We could circle around to the east, towards Black Pony Mountain, Glory suggested. That's right by Paradise. Red Eye's there, Rampage countered. Well, go past Red Eye and along the eastern mountains. Even worse idea. Ever heard of an Ursa Major? From the gasp of Lacuna, one of us had. Rampage didn't elaborate. Let's just say there's a reason every pony stays away from Black Pony Mountain. It doesn't matter. If the Flash Fillies want to fight me, they're going to fight me. If some ponies got to talk to the Steel Rangers and get this stopped before one side wipes out the other. Wouldn't it be better if they did? P-21 said quietly, staring off into space. You've pretty much said you won't back the Reapers. If they're so determined to kill each other, let them. Nothing's going to get better if we do that. So the Reapers kill off the Rangers, or the Rangers kill off the Reapers. They'll just lead to another round and another round. Eventually, there won't be anything left, I said as I stomped my hoof, the brace clattering from the motion. I looked at Rampage. The poison spreads a little more each year. I looked at each of my friends. If we're going to matter at all, then we're going to have to do better. All of us. Not just we six, but every pony. And if I'm only here for a short while, then I'm going to do my damnedest to encourage folks to do better. Or die trying, I said grimly. The dealer stared at me from the far side of the burning barrel. His lips curled into a small smile. And that was that. Decision cast. I would stay in Hoofington and chase down Golden Blood's secret projects and learn what that bastard had done with the OIA. Because I suspected that, apocalypse and 2 centuries notwithstanding, it wasn't dead yet. Just sleeping. And I wasn't sure I wanted to know what would happen if it woke up. Twilight Sparkle had created gardens to save Equestria. Golden Blood wanted to save Equestria more than anything. With all the resources of the 6 ministries, what could Golden Blood have created? Do I love Blackjack? That's an oddly personal question. I'm not sure how to answer. Yes would suffice, but it really wouldn't explain much, would it? I suppose what you're really asking is, why do I love Blackjack? When Blackjack is at her best, she's like pony kind at his best. I really believe that nothing she can't accomplish when she's like that. It's almost scary just what she can get done when she puts her mind to it. She tracked down Dusk, fought a whole slew of Red-Eye soldiers, and brought her back to me. And it worked. I don't think Dusk and I have ever talked like we did when she saw my injury. And that's why, when she talks about saving Hoofington and Equestria, I think she might be able to do it. At the same time, I'm scared of her. I'm scared of what she'll do, what she can do. She killed her stable because she thought it was the right thing to do. She almost killed herself for the same reason. I don't know what snapped her out of that, but it had to be miraculous. She went through those tunnels, and she kept going when we all just wanted to die. And so I'm scared that one day she's going to go somewhere, and I won't be able to follow her. So do I love her? Yes. But will I always be able to be there for her? I don't know. There wasn't much to discuss after that. My friends knew the plan. Would they leave me? It would probably be for the best. Rampage had no reason to stay and every reason to go. P-21, there was a better life for him in Chapel. Lacuna, how could I know that the goddess wouldn't just sweep her aside and take over? Scotch should be left behind. Where I was going was no place for a filly. And though I loved her more than my own life, it wasn't a place for glory either. I was destined for a bad end. I still didn't want to be alone again. I hated being alone. But hating my friends being hurt by me even more. I rested my head on Glory's chest, listening to the beat of a soft and healthy heart, and let it soothe me off to sleep.